Good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's yoga practice. So glad you could join me. I can see on screen I've got a couple of you out there who are with me. Wonderful. Today we are going to be working on the movement and the health of the spine. There are 4 movements in the spine. There is compression, which is when you round through the back. There's extension, when you lift and lengthen and get a little bit of a sway in your spine. There is flexion, which is from side to side. And there is also rotation, which is the twisting of the spine. And I always say that the health of your spine is often a measure of your world and how big your world is. The healthier your spine, the bigger your world can be because you have a larger range of motion, your body moves more freely, and there's nothing that you can't do when you feel well. So with that in mind, let's get started. Sitting comfortably. I'm sitting on a rolled up blanket. I like to have my hips higher than my knees. It just helps to sit a little more comfortably. You do not have to sit with your legs crossed. You can go ahead and stretch your legs straight out if that feels better to you. But make sure that your lower back is long, that you don't feel like you're leaning back and rounding through the spine. We want to stay long. Try and find the natural alignment of your vertebrae. So broaden through the fronts of the shoulders. Sit up straight, just like your mom always tells you. You want to feel like your ears are in line with your shoulders. Shoulders are over top of your hips. Hands resting on your thighs. Palms up, palms down. It really doesn't matter which. You can go ahead and close your eyes. Bring your attention to your breath. Naturally allow your breath to deepen. And with each inhale, imagine just filling your whole torso with your breath. And then as you exhale, sinking into the support beneath your hips. Connect to the long line of your spine from your tailbone to the crown of your head with each breath in. So even though your spine doesn't reach the crown of your head, I want you to think of extending upwards, anchoring the tailbone, and then reaching the crown of the head upwards, just for a little bit of extension through the vertebrae. Now keep that. Keep the length, the volume in your upper body. With your next breath in, sweep your arms up. Bring your hands together overhead, and as you exhale, let your hands float down, palm pressing to palm. Another breath in, sweeping the arms up. Hands coming together and floating down. Do this for 2 more breaths. Just take your time with your breath. Feel your breath deepen. Just feel satisfied with your breath. Pausing with hands right in front of heart center. Just feeling centered, aligned, like your vertebrae. And release the hands. Open your eyes if they happen to be closed. beginning with a little bit of compression in the spine and a little bit of opening through the hips, starting with a gentle forward fold. As you inhale, arms sweep up. As you exhale, just lean slightly forward until your hands have support, and then ease into the forward fold just a tiny little bit, just enough to feel a little bit of a stretch into the lower back. If your legs are crossed, you might feel a stretch into the hips as well. Then press up. Inhale, sweeping the arms up. Exhale, right hand comes to the mat beside your hip, left hand comes to the outside of your right thigh, and just a gentle twist, looking to the corner here on the right side. Just a slight twist through the rib cage and shoulders, nothing more than that. Head still over top of the heart, heart over top of the core of the pelvis. As you exhale, release. Twisting to the left this time, a breath in, sweeping the arms up. Breath out, left hand comes to the floor beside your hip, right hand comes to the outside of your left thigh. Now I'm looking to the left corner. Just a gentle twist of rotation through the rib cage. With your next breath out, release the twist, coming back to center. Let's take one more forward fold. A breath in, sweeping up. A breath out, bowing forward, just far enough forward your fingertips have support underneath them, whether it's your legs or the floor. And then bending at the elbows to ease into a forward fold. Just enough to feel the stretch in the lower back. Press up. Now if your legs are crossed, you can go ahead and stretch them straight out in front of you. If you're already there, we're meeting you there. All right, so legs straight out in front, again, sitting tall. Feeling the crown of the head lifting up to the ceiling while the tailbone is anchored below. Inhale, sweep the arms up. As you exhale, right hand comes to the mat beside your hip, left hand reaches over. Anchor the left hip until you feel a deep stretch into the left side, but at the same time, bending far enough over to the right to feel the flexion in your spine. Flexion, of course, is bending sideways. Now, instead of reaching your left hand to the wall at the right, think of reaching up for the corner. Really lengthen. With your breath in, you're going to windmill over to the other side. So reach your arms wide, big breath in. Left hand comes to the floor beside your hip. Right hand reaches over to the left. Again, anchor, left hip this time, right hip this time, and reach the right hand up towards the corner rather than straight across to the wall at the left. Leaning in onto the left side just enough to feel the spine flexing to the left. And now swing yourself back to center. Big breath in and exhale, release. Let's come to standing at the top of the mat. Getting ready to do that same range of motion through the spine, but a little more deeply this time. Aware and careful of the movement, always making sure to move in a way that feels right in your body. Never to the point of pain. You might feel like you're pushing yourself a little bit, but so long as you can breathe, you're on the right track. You've got the right level of effort. So standing in mountain pose, feet hip distance apart. Again, broadening through the fronts of the shoulders and the collarbones. Feeling the lift of the crown of the head as you reach upwards. feeling that extension in the spine. Kind of exaggerating the length in your upper body. Breathe. Now inhale, sweep the arms up. As you exhale, lean slightly to the right, anchor the left foot. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, lean slightly to the left, anchor the right foot. Inhale, come back to center. As you exhale, bend your knees, bring your hands to your knees. Now getting ready for some compression here. Rounding through, so scooping the tailbone under to round through the lower back. Tuck your chin towards your chest, spread your shoulder blades wide. Now roll all the way up. Now keep going. Keep lifting up, shoulders stack over top of hips, and then sweep the arms up. Bring your gaze up as your arms, hands reach up for the ceiling, extending completely through the spine. And as you exhale, hands together, right in front of heart center. Let's do that little sequence again. Release the hands. Find your mountain pose. Broad through the fronts of the shoulders, the collarbones. Reaching, crown of the head reaching up, tailbone anchored downwards. Here we go. Breath in, sweep the arms up. Breath out, leaning slightly to the right, anchoring the left foot. Leaning far enough you can feel the stretch into your left hip. Inhale, coming back to center. Exhale, leaning to the left this time, anchoring the right foot. Leaning far enough over, you feel the stretch in your right hip. Inhale, coming back to center. Exhale, sweeping the arms down, bending your knees. Hands to the tops of your knees. Getting ready for compression. Scoop the tailbone under, round through the lower back. Tuck your chin towards your chest, round through the shoulders, shoulder blades spread wide. Release your hands, slowly roll up, stacking vertebrae on top of vertebrae. One at a time, kind of get that visualization in your mind's eye. Then rolling the shoulders back, so shoulders over top of hips, ears over top of shoulders, arms sweep up with your breath in, gaze goes upwards, fully extending the spine. Palms together. Exhale, hands to the heart. Let's do that whole sequence one more time. Release the hands. Broad through the fronts of the shoulders, the collarbones. Lift and length through the upper body as the crown of the head reaches up towards the ceiling. Take a breath in, sweep up. Breath out, leaning to the right. Breath in, coming back to center. Breath out, leaning to the left. Breath in, coming back to center. Breath out, bending your knees as your hands sweep down, resting your hands on the tops of your knees. Rolling through the vertebrae, tucking under through the tailbone, spreading the shoulder blades wide, chin tucks. Roll up. One vertebrae at a time, shoulders over top of shoulders over top of hips, ears over top of shoulders, arms sweep up. Gaze wanders up to the ceiling for full extension. Hands together. Hands in front of the heart. Now notice the energy in your spine. You can feel that something's been going on there today. Now this can be scary if you have a back injury, so move carefully, as I mentioned. Always move in a way that feels right in your own body. Let's release the hands. Inhale, sweep the arms up. As you exhale, sweep the arms down, bend forward. Bend your knees enough that your fingertips come to the mat. If you have a yoga block, you can go ahead and reach for that for a little bit of support underneath the hands, especially if the backs of your legs are feeling tight. Now, keeping the knees bent, we're just going to fold over the thighs today. Again, it's about moving the vertebrae. So take a breath in, lift the eyes, look forward. And on the breath out, just fold over your thighs. Think of bringing your forehead towards your knees. A breath in, let the eyes look forward. Coming high on the fingertips if you don't have a block. Exhale, folding over your thighs. One more time. Breath in and a breath out. Now lift your eyes, look down between your hands. Keep your fingertips just grazing the mat or using a block for support. With your next breath out, push your feet into the mat and just lift the hips up. Just getting a little bit of a stretch into the hamstrings here, the backs of the legs, backs of the knees. Make sure there's support underneath your fingertips, whether it's a block or the floor. Could even be a stack of books or a chair if that's what you're using. A little footstool, perhaps. We get really creative at home, right? Depends how determined you are. Now bend your knees. Bend your knees deeply here, setting up for a chair pose. Now shift all your weight into your feet so your hands feel free. Keep your knees bent, able to see your toes. With your breath in, just sweep your arms forward. Pull your ribcage belly away from your thighs. You can still see your toes. Arms reaching straight ahead. Bring your gaze straight ahead. Now think of your arms framing whatever it is that you're looking at, your focal point. Now pull the shoulders back. Yes. Oh, a big extension through the lower back here. Couple of breaths. Now inhale, lift up the whole rest of the way. And as you exhale, sweep the arms around and down. Returning to mountain pose. Take a breath right here. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, bend your knees, bow forward. Bend your knees enough, you can plant your hands and walk back to the downward dog position. We'll take a couple of breaths here in downward dog. Feel free to put some movement into your downward dog. It's the first downward dog of the practice. So just like I said before, move in a way that feels right in your body. Sometimes our bodies have this intuitive healing response. You know when you're doing something that's good for you. So I encourage you to always foster that on your yoga mat. Couple of breaths. Take one more breath. Really settle into your downward dog here. Really reach the heels down towards the mat. Remember, the feet do not need to be firmly planted on the mat, but far enough back you can feel a stretch there. Lift your heels, bend your knees, walk your feet towards your hands. Inhale, come halfway up. Hands just underneath your knees. And as you exhale, slide your hands back down, fingertips to the mat. Step your right foot back. Long lunge step here, landing on the ball of your right big toe. Bring your hands one at a time onto your left knee. So use your hands on your left knee for support and push, lengthen. So keeping the shoulders forward, eyes gazing on the top edge of your mat. Think about finding the position in your body where you're creating this long diagonal line from your right heel to the crown of your head. Now reach, crown of your head up towards the corner. Feel that extra bit of lift? It's amazing. That extra bit of length. So by reaching the crown of the head towards the corner, oh yeah, that is the corner, where the wall meets the ceiling, you're reducing some compression in the spine, finding some space. Now keep the shoulders square. If you find that you've rotated a little to the left, square off your shoulders so they feel parallel to the top of your mat. Push into the floor with the ball of the right big toe and pull forward. Really solidify your legs because we're going to use the arms in a moment. Now release the arms. Extend the diagonal line to your fingertips now. Reach. Ah, yeah. Beautiful. Long, beautiful line. Imagine now that your spine is even longer. The tailbone reaches down to your right heel. And the top of your spine, the base of your skull, actually reaches to your fingertips. Breathe. If this is too much, you can bring your hands back to your thigh. We're going to take one more breath. All right, here we go. Getting ready to come out of this lunge pose. With your exhalation, hands come all the way down to the mat. Step your right foot forward. Inhale, come halfway up. Oh. Exhale, slide your hands back down. Plant your hands, step back to downward dog. Hands firmly planted on the mat. This time, lift your heels high and bend your knees. Think of scooping the tailbone up, just to stretch out the back of that left hip. With your next breath out, keep the alignment in the upper body and just push the heels down towards the mat. All right, let's repeat all that on the other side. Heels lift, bend your knees, walk your feet towards your hands. Inhale, come halfway up, hands just underneath your knees. As you exhale, fingertips come down to the mat, left foot steps back. Land on the ball of your left big toe. So this is bigger than a walking step. Bring your hands onto your right thigh. Now use your hands to push yourself up. Pull your rib cage and belly away from your thigh. Left heel is lifting off the mat. Push down with the ball of your left big toe and pull forward. Really engage the legs. Your eyes are at the top edge of your mat. You're trying to feel in your body once again that long line from your left heel to the crown of your head. Now reach the crown of your head up towards the corner. Lift, lengthen. If you feel like you're turning a little bit, rotate your shoulders, your rib cage, so that they feel parallel to the top of the mat. You want to be aware of when we're twisting and when we're not. Now with the legs strong, ball of the left big toe pulling forward, right heel, just give it a little pull to the back of the mat. You'll feel a scissoring action in the legs. If you feel steady, go ahead and extend the line now, sweeping the arms forward, reaching the arms up towards the corner now, extending the line of the spine from your left heel to your fingertips. Able to breathe, so it's when you lose your breath, you find that you're holding your breath, that you know that it's too much, and you need to dial it back a little bit. And maybe you can do this full lunge pose, leaning forward lunge pose, just for a breath or two, and then returning your hands to your thigh. Wherever you are, we're going to do one more breath. You can take one more try at going bigger or dial it back. Inhale, and as you exhale, hands come down to the mat. Oh, it feels good. Step your left foot forward. Inhale, come halfway up. Exhale, bend your knees, plant your hands, step back to downward dog once again. Find your placement of your hands and your feet. And lift your heels high, come really high on the balls of the big toes, bend your knees. Then scoop the tailbone upwards. Put a little bit of curve in the lower back, help stretch out the right buttock. A couple
couple of breaths. Now keep the alignment of the upper body, and with your exhalation, push the heels down towards the mat. Lift your heels, bend your knees, walk your feet towards your hands. Inhale, come halfway up. Exhale, bend your knees. And as you inhale, sweep out and up. Gaze straight ahead, hands together overhead. And as you exhale, hands floating down, palm pressing to palm. Taking a moment right here in mountain pose, you can release the hands. Breathe. Feeling open through the front of the body, long through the spine. Release the hands, release your mountain pose. I'm going to turn forward so that you can see. Getting ready to do a little bit of a balance here. So feet solid, hip distance apart. Really push down onto the mat. Shoulders broad. Use the weight of your arms to help keep your shoulders down away from your ears. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Now right hand reaches for your left wrist. Turn your left palm up towards the ceiling. Elbows bent. Now if you feel like your rib cage is popping forward, pull the ribs in just slightly. Take a breath. Squeeze the rib cage in. Careful not to squeeze too hard. You still need to breathe. Now turn your head. Look to the right. Look to the corner where the wall meets the ceiling. You want to pull your upper arms back so that your right arm is not blocking your view. Take a breath. And as you exhale, lean towards the left. Just slightly, just enough to feel a tiny bit of flexion in the spine. Now keep the upper arms pulling back, a little workload for the shoulders here. Keep the rib cage drawing inward. That keeps your center of gravity centered. Now shift your weight slightly onto your right foot. Spread your toes on your left foot. Start to peel the sole of your left foot off the mat. Make sure you've got a focal point in your gaze. And when you feel ready, lift left foot out to the left. Coming into a modified crescent pose. Keep both legs reaching, soles of both feet pushing away, as if you're standing on both feet. And as you push with both feet, feel the lift and length through the upper body. Give it a try. One more breath. Even if you have your big toe just grazing the floor for a little grounding. Now bring left foot back. Shift your weight back to center. Pause here for a breath. Still flexing over towards the left, looking to the right. I know there's a hurry to just bring it all back all at once. Let's take our time. Now bring your head back to center. Take a breath in. And as you exhale, bring the shoulders and the upper body back to center. As you inhale, reach the arms up, bring the gaze up. Breath in. As you exhale, sweep the arms around and down. Bend your knees. Bring your hands to the tops of your knees. And then roll up. Roll up. Stretch out the lower back, the back of the shoulders. Stacking vertebrae on top of vertebrae. Shoulders over top of hips, ears over top of shoulders, arms sweep up, gaze goes up, hands come together and float down. Taking a breath, let the shoulders feel heavy. Use the weight of the arms to help release the shoulders. And as you exhale, release the hands. Let's repeat all that on the other side. Here we go. Taking a breath in, sweeping the arms up. Now left hand reaches for your right wrist. Right palm turns up towards the ceiling. Both elbows are soft, so there's no strain or tension through the shoulders, but the shoulders are doing some work here, as you know. Now pull the upper arms back and turn to look to the left this time. Make sure that your left arm is pulled far enough back, it's not blocking your view to the corner. Soles of the feet pushing into the mat. If you feel like the fronts of your ribs are popping out, draw them in. Center yourself. Hug in. It will steady you. Now shift your weight onto your left leg. Spread your toes on your right foot and start to peel your right sole off the mat until there's nothing but just the ball of the big toe resting there. Lean to the right. And then float. Right foot out to the right. Keep both legs reaching, both legs long. Push with the soles of both feet. Stay centered. Leaning just enough to the right, you can feel a little bit of flexion in your spine. Nothing more than that, nothing too big. Challenge yourself to give it a go. You can even graze the ball or the tip of your right big toe on the mat just for a little bit of grounding. It does help, even if it's not weight bearing. Take another breath. All right, ready to come out one little bit at a time. Control. Pace yourself. So right foot comes to the mat. Center your weight over both legs. Still leaning slightly to the right, looking to the left. Now bring the gaze back to center. Bring the shoulders, rib cage back to center. Now inhale, separate the hands, bring the gaze up. Oh, yeah. A breath in. As you exhale, sweep around and down. Bring your hands to your knees. Scoop the tailbone under, round through the shoulders, spreading the shoulder blades wide. And slowly roll yourself up. Vertebrae on top of vertebrae, shoulders over top of hips, ears over top of shoulders, arms sweeping up, hands coming together. Exhaling, hands in front of the heart. Taking a breath right here. And release the hands. All right, getting ready for our next little sequence. Inhale, sweeping the arms up. As you exhale, bend your knees, bow forward, plant your hands. Step back to downward dog. Now inhale, push with the left foot and lift the right leg up. Now reach the right heel to the wall behind you. Push your hands into the mat, the floor in front of you. Use the front of your right thigh to really lift and lengthen. Again, that familiar diagonal line from your fingertips to your right heel. Whew. Now bend your right knee. Hug your right knee in towards your rib cage and step your right foot forward.
then the left. Inhale, come high on the fingertips, lift your eyes up forward, and as you exhale, bow. Lift the hips up towards the ceiling, really exaggerate the stretch in the back of the legs. Feel a little bit of intensity there, but not pain, right? You want to feel a stretch, not pain. Now reach the crown of your head beyond the top edge of your mat. Think of lengthening through the crown of the head. Think of reaching the tailbone up to the corner where the wall meets the ceiling. Now be careful here that the weight doesn't go into the balls of the big toes. Keep the weight equal on your heels and the balls of the toes, the front of the feet. Inhale, come halfway up. Use the full length of your arms. As you exhale, bend your knees deeply, setting up for a chair pose here. Releasing the hands so the weight is in your feet. Now sweeping out and up. Keep the knees bent and the hips low. Out and up. Lift up. Bring hands together overhead. Oh, and then draw the hands down towards the heart. Right here. Stand in a chair pose. Now just play with the possibility of going deeper. So shift your weight forward just slightly into your toes and then sink your hips a little more. Now keeping your knees square to the top of your mat. Hands in front of your heart center. Take a breath. Lengthen through the crown of the head, the spine. Feel the extension there. And as you exhale, turn. Push with the left foot. Pull with the right foot. Turning to the left. Just take a quick look down at your knees. You want your knees to stay level. Not have your right knee go in front of your left knee. Keep your hands in front of your heart. Resist the urge to bring your hands over to your left shoulder when you turn to the left. Stay long through the upper body. Keep the heart open rather than collapsing towards your mat. Push with the left foot, pull with the right. Yeah. Breathe. Now exhale, bring yourself back to center. Feel the soles of the feet releasing. Push up. Breath in. Reach up. Look up. Take a breath. With your next exhale, sweep your arms around and down. Take a breath right here. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, bow forward. Bend your knees enough, you can plant your hands fully on the mat. Step back to downward dog. Find the perfect placement of your hands and feet. Feet should be hip distance apart. Arms long and strong. Now push with the right foot as you take your breath in. And as you exhale, lift the left. Long left leg, reach your heel for the wall behind you. Lift your left leg as high as you can. Get as close as you can to the diagonal line from your fingertips to your left heel. Long left leg. Now bend your left knee. Hug your left knee in towards your rib cage. Come up onto your right toes. Step your left foot forward. Step your right foot forward. Inhale, come halfway up. Exhale, bow. Support under the hands, be it your block, your blanket, the mat itself. As you exhale, lift the hips up towards the ceiling. Feel the stretch in the back of the legs. Now extend through the upper body, extend through the spine by reaching the crown of your head beyond the top edge of your mat. Check in with the soles of the feet.
Feel equal weight on the front and back of your feet. So the weight's not shifting forward as the crown of the head reaches forward. Stay grounded through the heels. Breathe. With your next exhalation, bend your knees, drop your hips. Weight in your feet, getting ready. Releasing the hands, sweeping out and up, pulling your rib cage away from your thighs, bringing palms together overhead, eyes straight ahead. So really long, a little bit of extension through the lower back here. As you exhale, palms of the hands right in front of heart center. Now here you are in your chair pose, your high chair pose. Let's play with going a little bit deeper if you can. So right now you feel the weight in your heels. Shift your weight into the balls of the big toes, the balls of the toes. So the baby toes are grounded just as much as the balls of the big toes are. And then sink into your heels by dropping the hips a little bit more. Hands right in front of heart center. Here we go, ready for our chair pose with a twist. Take a breath. As you exhale, push with your right foot, pull with your left, and turn to the right. Stay long through the upper body. Keep hands in front of heart center. Keep the crown of the head reaching upwards. Keeping the knees level so the left knee does not go in front of the right knee. Breathe. Keep pushing with the right foot, pulling with the left. Take a breath in, and as you exhale, come back to center. Push up with your breath in. Up, reach up, look up, release the hands. Breathe. Take a breath in. As you exhale, sweep the arms around and down, coming to mountain pose. Inhale, sweep up. Exhale, bend your knees, plant your hands, step back to downward dog. Two more breaths here in downward dog. Another one. Lift your heels, bring your knees all the way down to the mat, and take a child's pose. I like to bring my legs wide, my knees wide, so I can really sink into my child's pose. Place support under your forehead. It can be your hands, it can be a block, it can be the mat. Just make sure your head isn't dangling. Just want you to relax. Exhale out through the mouth so the jaw is relaxed and the tongue is relaxed. No tension in the back of the neck or the shoulders here. Just sink in. Inhale, bring yourself up. Swing your legs round to the top of the mat. Knees bent, feet flat on the floor. Roll yourself all the way back. You can even think of rolling down, one vertebrae at a time. Ooh, getting a really deep stretch in the back of the shoulders. Let's take a moment here. Place your feet so that your ankles feel like they're underneath your knees. Your feet are hip distance apart, and just gently rock from the sides of your feet. So rocking from side to side rather than collapsing through the ankle. If you spread your toes and just lean onto the outside and the inside edges of your feet. Again, a little bit of rotation through the lower back here. And then come back to center. Arms at your sides, bending your elbows at 90 degrees like robot arms.
Just enough energy in the hands that your fingers are separated. Take a moment, roll your shoulder blades underneath you. Now you can feel your spine lifting away from the mat, from your tailbone right to the spot between your shoulder blades. Tilt your head back just slightly so it feels like the tops of your ears are pointing towards the floor. Part your teeth so that you're not clenching your jaw. The jaw is relaxed. Now push down with the backs of the arms. Now we're not doing a full bridge pose here today. I want you to just lift through the rib cage, lift through the heart. Use the backs of the arms to push down to lift as much of your spine away from the floor as possible, keeping the hips heavy and the back of the head heavy. Relax your jaw. Just feel that pressure point at the base of the skull. Think of lifting your heart, lifting through the rib cage. Use the heaviness of your hips, the push of the back of your arms to lift away from the mat. Just the rib cage. And then exhale, come all the way back down. Release the arms. Arms out to the sides in line with your shoulders. Rest the backs of your hands on the mat. Walk your feet as wide as the mat, right foot to the right edge, left foot to the left edge. Take a breath. And as you exhale, let your knees fall to the right. So roll on to the outside edge of your right foot, inside edge of your left foot. Just sink into your right side and let your left knee just hover 6 inches or so above the mat. Roll your head to the left. So we've got 2 rotations happening here. There's one in the lower back, just a gentle one, and then another rotation through the vertebrae in the neck. Breathe. Bring your head back to center. Legs to center. Use the edges of your feet to push into the mat and bring the knees back to center. Take a breath. And as you exhale this time, knees go to the left. Roll onto the outside edge of your left foot, inside edge of your right foot. Head rolls to the right. Sink into your left hip, left thigh. Right knee kind of hovers over the mat. You get this long stretch on the right side of your body. The right rib cage, right hip. Breathe. Bring your head to center. Knees to center. Push into the mat with the edges of your feet. A breath in. And as you exhale, just reach for your knees. Bring them in towards your chest. Hug your knees in tight. Take a breath in. And as you exhale, just curl up towards your knees. Inhale, bring yourself back down to the mat. Exhale, curl up towards your knees. Last time. Breath in, releasing to the mat. Exhale, curling up towards your knees. And release your grip. And just gently rock yourself from side to side. Do some circles with your knees, massaging out the back. Oh my gosh, that feels good. Go the other way. And then bringing your feet to the floor. Stretch your legs out one at a time. Tuck your shoulder blades underneath you and settle in for your final relaxation. Tune into your spine. Really try to center your focus there. From your tailbone, your sacrum, reaching up to the base of the rib cage, passing through the rib cage, between the shoulder blades, back of the neck, connecting to the base of the skull. Feel the energy there, the vitality there. Visualize, feel a healthy spine, as healthy as it can be. No matter your age, always working to be the healthiest, best version of you. Use your breath to bring health and healing to your whole body, but today focus specifically on your spine, your center. The connection from your head to your heart, from your heart to your head, and from your head to the rest of your body. Feeling your body respond, meet your needs. Fulfill your dreams. Take in a long, deep breath. And as you exhale, just let your spine sink into the earth beneath you. Just feel connected to the cool energy of the earth, especially on these hot summer days. And just gently begin to bring some movements to your fingers and toes, your hands and feet, your arms and legs. And go ahead and have a little stretch. One last extension. Bend your knees one at a time, placing your feet on the floor. Gently roll onto your right side. Use your right arm to support your head and neck. Linger here for another breath. And slowly press up. Sit tall once again. Hands together in front of the heart. Eyes softly closed. Taking a moment to be grateful. May all beings be happy. May all beings be healthy. May all beings be loved. May all beings be at peace. Thank you for joining me today. Namaste.